Well, Jeremy, great job last month. I mean, that was a record month for us in June. So just going over, the year-over-year numbers here, and I'm just curious. I mean, 162 pre-owned in 19 June of 2019 versus 315 in June of 2020. I mean, that's a 195% increase year over year. I mean, what do you think that's attributed to? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of it lately has been acquiring the right inventory for the community, for the staff to be able to move forward on, whether that's keeping some of the older stuff, for a more budgeted sense. And then we've also had a lot more new stuff coming in for those customers that don't qualify for necessarily all of the rebates or GMF or GMS number, the employee discounts. I can offer them a very similar unit for a similar price. So acquiring the right inventory and building a real strong team has helped us get there.
Okay, I agree. Real quick, can you shut the door?
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, we should have done that prior. I can just keep rolling, right? We can just keep going. Okay, so that's great. So, Jeremy, do you think us starting the wholesale to public launch, as far as opposed to wholesaling out some of the higher mileage units that may need a little bit of cosmetic repairs and such, and offering those to our community? I'm talking more of those $3,000 to $5,000, $6,000 cars. Do you think that's helped with the growth?
Yeah, that's that budget line that I was more talking about. So you're going to see more of those available. Finding a way to make sure that a car is safe and clean for a consumer, but that may have some miles or it's got a few more years on it. But as long as it's a safe, clean, good running car, I don't see any problem with positioning that and allowing that to be out on the market for. So our standard process is I take in a vehicle on trade today. That vehicle is photographed and at least put online for people to view the next morning at the latest. So that way it's out there in the market, people can see it. That same day, right after it's photographed and at least marketed online, that vehicle gets checked into service. It's generally going to go through a 172-point safety inspection. It's going to get fully looked at. It's going to get an oil change. It's going to get its tire rotations. If it needs tires, it's getting those. If it needs brakes, it's getting those. We are in a position with our service department now in an agreement that the vehicle needs to be fixed properly. The last thing we want is a customer to purchase a vehicle and have an issue anytime soon. So we make sure that we are pretty thorough. We go through everything as much as possible. These vehicles are ready for the road within 5 days of us taking it in. There can be a delay on a part, but generally 3 to 5 days we're ready to roll.
Okay, so with our overall growth, what's your plan for, to get more inventory on the ground here so we can continue to, service our customers where that demand is taking place in the pre-owned market?
Yeah, so we've been focusing a lot on acquiring as much from the public as possible. So obviously while selling these vehicles, a lot of consumers are trading in their vehicles as well. So that's a huge push, is offering somebody as much money for their trade-in as possible to draw them in. We can get them into something newer and nicer, trying to keep their payments similar, but paying enough for that trade-in so that I can acquire nice inventory for somebody else who may have a lower budget line or need something a few years older or with more miles. So that's the first line. Second line would be we've been scouring all the dealer-to-dealer auctions, buying lease vehicles that are currently running through the auction from GM Financial, Ally, Chrysler Capital. So we're trying to acquire, the nicest of inventory from any and all sources. I mean, just yesterday we acquired 106 vehicles from the auction. That were mostly lease turn-in vehicles. So these are newer vehicles with lower miles, but you don't have to pay that new car top-line price. You can save that dollar amount right up front.
Are these all Chevys that you bought, the 106, or?
No, we definitely have been buying as much of a mix as possible. We've been looking at Chevys, a lot of Chrysler, keeping as much Ford in stock as possible. And then we've even been branching into some obscure stuff. I have a couple Jaguars on the lot, a couple Audis. We have a BMW, so we're, stretching as far as we can into just to have as much market as possible for anybody to come see, and a lot of people want to be able to compare vehicles, so we have to.
Nice mix, like the full lineup of General Motors product. You bought some.
Yeah, we definitely focus mostly on our core product. Obviously, being a Chevy rooftop, majority of our customer base is looking for that bow tie. But obviously, a customer may want to experience an Escape versus an Equinox. and we have both of them on the ground so they can drive both and see them both here at that time.